I'm busy redoing that at the moment. It'll be live again shortly. Split it off to its own site. Got slightly better charts. I'm scaling up as I go along.
Okay, and this was the you did like the 30-day, was it trading volumes and like matching them against like supplies?
Yeah.
Calculating supply, and then you were producing like models out of that.
Yeah, if you get a model price, if you look at the 30-day trade volume and you plot it again, and you divide by the supply, and then you plot it against the actual price, and you see whether the real price is corresponds with it or not. And since July last year, there's been times where it has corresponded, and times where the model price is higher, and times where the model price is lower. At the moment, it's kind of bouncing around. It's gone back below the model price again. But every time the price is higher than the model price, there's a speculative times. I don't quite know how to interpret it yet. It'll be easier to show with the chart itself.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. René, you'd mentioned about this time limit thing that's come up. I think in like 10 minutes it sends us out because we're not under like under pro accounts. If that's the case, everybody can join back in on the same link. I'm going to see if I can just pay some subscription to kill it though in the next sort of 5-10 minutes. So hopefully I might be able to save it. If not, we just come in on the same link and go again. So anybody else that wanted to kind of introduce what they're doing?
Yeah, I go next since you just mentioned my name anyway. So, I'm René. I'm trying to understand the Lightning Network protocol and also trying to extend it. So not really trying to build labs or something, but really try to interact with the core protocol. Currently, I'm trying to dissect C Lightning because I lost about 400,000 Satoshis, which are like stuck on the blockchain, but there's no key currently to redeem them because there was a compatibility bug between Eclair and C Lightning. So I'm currently trying to chase those down because technically I should have all the information to get them, but yeah, it was an implementation bug in C Lightning. So if anyone here has looked into the source code of C Lightning, I'd be very happy to partner up on this.
Yeah, awesome. You said you were doing the review on C Lightning, so it's basically part of the motivation for doing that is to reclaim these lost Satoshis, yeah?
Well, so the thing is, I actually wanted to work on something different currently, but since I lost these Satoshis, and it was pretty obvious that it was a bug, like it was not a misusage of the software. And I mean, the bug has already been fixed, but the Satoshis are currently still lost, and it's a great motivation to really dissect the code in order to find them back or to reconstruct them back. So, yeah, I mean, the C Lightning code base is quite big, and I mean, it's C code, so yeah.
Awesome. Cool, okay.
Oleg Mikowski here as well, if you allow me. I'm part of Beetle team as well as David and Andre, and recently somebody told me that my name in Telegram is written in Russian. So I thought it would make sense to reintroduce myself, if that's really the case. I'm more on the product and business development side, looking for first use cases where we could put Zigzag or Hub or what other things people will be doing, so put them into action.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Anybody else wanted to intro before we move on? Jeff, did you want to?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm running fullmode.org, and we've been pretty much doing the Lightning Hack Day as an event series. It's a mix between Barcamp, Unconference, and Hackathon. And pretty much we just are doing a small conference, trying to understand it. It's kind of what we wanted to see, and trying to get together all people that are working on Lightning, doing implementations and protocol work, and also labs and wallets, and just like build community together and learn together. And I just tried it sort of as a meetup first, just to see what happens, and now we are already organizing the third Lightning Hack Day in Berlin, and it's getting bigger, and it's quite interesting. We we somehow convinced almost everybody by now who's like building implementations to come, and we get more. That's the main thing we're focusing on right now. And Christian's also doing the Raspi Blitz, which is a Bitcoin and also Litecoin full node for the Lightning Network built on a Raspberry Pi, which is which you can pretty much download, and we also have like a shopping list, so you can pretty much just click on the parts, put them in your shopping basket, buy them, and then once they're delivered, you can just put a software in it, and you have your own Raspberry Pi, which is pretty exciting as well. And we're still, so that's the two things we're doing right now, and also looking for other things to do. That's it.
And the swag keeps getting better as well. At each of these hack days.
The swag, yeah, we actually well, it depends on if they're going to be done in time, but we're probably going to get a batch of Reckless hats from Samsung.
Okay.
You know, the new hat edition. That alone should be worth coming.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I can see Rene. You've literally you're doing an absolute killer job on this these minutes in this document. I've just opened it up, and it's literally point by point. This is awesome. Okay, so yeah, I mean the next thing was sort of updates and detail of success, failures, stuff like that. I mean, I know we're kind of super early in this group, and it's kind of just kind of getting started. So if anybody has something they'd like to, sort of share or discuss whilst they've been building, whilst they've been building the lap, or anything else that's worth mentioning. Like I say, I know it's super early days, so you might not have that much you want to discuss at the moment, but open floor.
I had a question for the previous person who introduced themselves. What model of the Pi were you guys building on? I'm just kind of curious, because we've actually been working with the Pi Zero W and trying to get LND neutrino mode to run from that for a couple months. So I was just kind of curious what you guys are working on in terms of the model.
It's the Model 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I will put the link on the group. Just a second. This one. So that's pretty much the project, and you can look at all the hardware and the requirements. We're currently talking. So this is already expanded a little bit. So Christian built the Raspberry Blitz based on Raspberry Bolt by Staticus, and actually Carlos from Satoshi Games also reached out to us, and he wants to build a sort of consumer reaching node, which is cheaper. And there's also David Knesik, or whatever his last name is, the guy who built the candy machine, the Bitcoin candy dispenser. Yeah. And he's been working with the Raspberry Zero. So I think there's definitely still some improvement on hardware costs and usability. So if you have questions about the Raspberry Zero, you could just ask David. I'll post his Twitter info, so you can, if you want to know anything about that.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we worked with the Zero, but it was quite difficult, because I mean the Zero is it's like a $10 board. It's pretty bare bones, so it took a lot of jangling to get it to work. But right now we're looking at possibly a redesign to try to get something still fairly affordable, because we're going for affordable point of sale systems, because we want to keep the cost fairly low and accessible for small businesses. But at the same time, the Zero, as great as it is for price, it has other issues. So we're probably moving away from that. But it's interesting to know that someone else is working on that model.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how this turns out. I've mostly been promoting the Raspberry Blitz. The project lead has Christian, and he's definitely more involved than me. I kind of can explain what it does, but if it gets to nuts and bolts, that he would be the guy to talk to.
Of course.
I threw in the Odroid HC1 as the box I'm working with. It's a little bit more powerful than any of the Pis out there. Of course, that comes with a cost, but I'm also looking to run it alongside Bitcoin D, so it's a fully validating box. Cost with the SSD hard drive still under $100, so that's been what I've been tackling it with Shock.
Isn't Odroid what Staticus is using as well?
I believe, I think so. I haven't looked at his guide, but I do remember seeing someone else had used one of those.
Yep. Yeah, there's actually a couple people in the Lightning community that have mentioned it when I've spoken with them. They actually use the Odroid there, so it seems to be pretty popular, and I guess fairly easy to use compared to other ARM boards. So.
Sorry, I was just reading the hard kernel link that you'd sent. All right, cool. Brandon, is there anything you want to share at OpenNode or Mason? Success, failures, or just general quality of the wine?
I mean, the wine is absolutely fantastic. Everyone better Portugal and visit. But yeah, there's a lot that we're working on. I would say the main thing for OpenNode is, just testing some more with our beta testers, making sure the product is where we need it to be. I would say the biggest milestones for us is Shopify integration and instant fiat exchanges. The latter we kind of already are finishing up on, and the former, we are soon to be finishing up on as well. But besides that, I would say the biggest thing for us, again, is to kind of create cool things and just test them out and see if they work. Like Pokitoshi was one of those. It's kind of more or less dead now, but it was fun to see, what do we the next thing for us, I would say, is, dabbling into how can we kind of integrate, artists into the space more. And we should be launching some stuff for Mason soon. But yeah, I would say, I guess our biggest thing right now is we've been mostly keeping our heads down and making sure we're understanding and learning as much from people using our stuff, but should have a lot more to share soon. And also traveling has been kind of taxing. But yeah, that's kind of it from us. I don't know if Offline, you want to say something more?
It's pretty much what we're doing. And on top of busting out some cool ideas, we bought this domain a couple Satoshi After Dark, and we're like, all right, what are we gonna do with this? And a couple days ago, we kind of decided we're gonna use that to throw up a sex shop, Lightning. Just again, little things that we can put out to keep the Lightning community going, and just have it be just onboard people outside of it. Where our heads are at. So yeah, just a few things that we're going to be putting out this next 2 weeks. But when we're not focusing on OpenNode, we're looking at how to drop a full site shop.
Really is. I was speaking to a guy yesterday that's working on. He's trying to make his own copy of Yols, but selling erotic stories, and I was just like, this is the most random. I didn't know where to go with it. So, but anyway, maybe I'm not sure. He might have actually joined the Telegram today, but yeah, you'll notice if a guy drops in the welcome notes to talk about erotic stories, then you'll know which guy to talk to, and then maybe you can collab on something. But,
maybe that'll be the killer app. You'll get all those housewives on the Lightning Network, going to buy erotic stories. That'll be what pushes us into the mainstream.
Yeah, you'd be annoyed though if you were, I don't know, if you were Bosworth and this copy of Yols went up and it got more traction than Yols, you'd be a bit, what was the pivot that led to this great adoption? Anyway. Bitlam Zigzag. I mean, success failure wise, I guess. Trying to think. I mean, maybe Oleg could add more onto this. Legal, I suppose, has been a tricky one to work on whilst we've been going. Just obviously because of the nature of what we're trying to do with Zigzag. Also, company setup was pretty interesting because obviously we've got guys in Russia. Then we wanted to register in America, and then I'm from the UK. So there's all that kind of stuff that we had issues with. So if anybody's working on taking one of these laps and trying to turn it into, you know, a sort of full-fledged startup, and you come across any I don't know, issues with registrations or even funding as well, because we've gone through a load of legality work around setting up seed documents and creating like safes and how that should look. So maybe there's some insights that we can share there. Failure wise, I don't know. I mean, recently we've probably had a bit of trouble trying to find the thing to focus on, because obviously, like when you've got a limited seed budget, it's kind of like you want to try all these ideas, but then you need to like do a single focus on the one that you think is going to be the killer thing, and judging whether or not that's the right one is pretty difficult, because I think in any startup it's difficult to pick which is the right focus point, but especially in Lightning because it's so early days, and it's very difficult to then turn around to an investor and go, hey, look, we got, I don't know, a couple of hundred people signing up, and although we might be pumped by that, a VC or an investor might be not so great on those numbers because we don't understand the how early Lightning is. So I don't know. I guess that's stuff from our side, and I mean, my hope with this is obviously in us being all open and transparent, and as this group develops, we can start sharing more of this. More of this stuff around, and then hopefully if we've spent time on something and it's been a kind of pain and a headache and a heartache for us, other guys in the group don't go through that, because we can hopefully share some kind of pointers and some shortcuts. Oleg, was there anything you wanted to add from kind of the Bitlam Zigzag side of it?
Yeah, we had to go through some boring stuff, including also kind of preliminary legal opinion on where Lightning stands in terms of requiring any licensing or touching any regulations for matters of money transfer. So we're eager to share that with everyone who is interested, and we are also looking to talk to people who are doing the same type of research. Kind of boring, but probably important. Will be important at some stage. So if anybody, guys, is working on how Lightning will be or might be regulated, and if someone wants to know what we found, just give us a note, and we'll share what we have and can talk about it.
Yeah, that's we've actually spent quite a bit of time with one of our banks here in Canada, who's, I guess, fairly friendly to crypto. And we've been going through the process of getting our documentation for compliance completed. And, we're still in dialogue, so we still haven't had anything, confirmed, but we are in the process of kind of figuring out where and what we need from the legal side to be able to operate, Lightning point-of-sale systems. Whether they end up converting to fiat at some point or whether they do not. So we're kind of in a similar boat, and we spent actually quite a lot of time on the legal stuff compared to even the development stuff too. Just here in Edmonton.
Sorry, Pavel from Graph, is that you?
Yes, that's me.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm not a musician by all matters, but okay, at least I could.
Yeah, by the way,
thank
Ori
you. Let's keep in touch about it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ori here from Graph as well. I just wanted to say the early indicators on where Lightning's going to fall in terms of regulation and KYC. It looks really promising because at least in Canada, it seems to be pretty well below the reporting threshold. So we'll see as things develop, but it could be great for just no KYC cash business.
May I ask a question about Graph? I see on your website that you're planning to do Lightning hardware, like a hardware wallet, I would assume. How are you actually doing this? Because I know a guy in Munich, a physicist, who is trying to work on this, and it seems to be pretty difficult to do that.
Yeah, I guess it's not, I guess, a hardware wallet in a typical sense, because it still is going to have some vulnerabilities, like obviously, being connected. But we're getting some consulting on how to actually build up from the board up to try to have some kind of, extra security protocols. It's really early right now, so I can't really even give you a definitive answer of how it's going to look like when it's finally done, or even a couple months from now. But we're kind of in the same boat as a lot of people, where it's just a learning experience at this point, and we're trying to figure out what we can do and what we can't do, what's possible, what's feasible, and it's just a lot of discovery and experimentation at this point. But what we would hope to do in terms of an actual Lightning wallet, with something along the lines of what Shock Wallet mentioned, would be a kind of selling like full nodes to people, a full validating, it has Bitcoin D or BTC-D, and then it has the LND client on it as well. So, so that's kind of the products we're offering. Is we're obviously we're do a full validating node kind of wallet, or whatever you want to call it. But our ultimate goal is to get something more, I guess, specialized in terms of security, and that's just the process that we're kind of going through right now.
Hey guys, just to add, right now you can access to your node with using Electrum. You can access from your ledger to your Raspberry Pi, for example. So
yeah, that's really cool stuff. I thought I saw something for the Trezor as well. Can't remember off the top of my head, but another thing too with the Lightning hardware that I'm not much of the security or technical guy, but I would be just as happy with like frictionless and ease of use and, moderate security profile, because we're not talking about a lot of funds. It's like a checking account at the end of the day. So yeah, right now that's kind of a balance, I think, between those.
Cool. Is there anyone else that wanted to share anything? I'm conscious we've got about 15 or so minutes left. Was there anybody else that wanted to share anything before we move on?
I'd like.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Just on the Slack, I shared David and some other people saw. I've been working on some REST API type concepts, trying to get lower level into the cryptography. Lots of people are familiar with Satoshi's Place. Like, it would double invoice for pixels. So like if you were painting pixels and you paid for it, that's fine. But if somebody else paid for the pixels, a couple seconds later, they'd overwrite your pixels. I'm trying to solve that problem such that something akin to a pixel can only be purchased once, and there's sort of race conditions in how the invoicing works. Invoices can be requested, but if one gets paid, that in a way kind of invalidates other invoices that are out there. So at least on the user interface side, we kind of want to warn people, don't pay this invoice because somebody already purchased that thing that was being sold. So yeah, I've gone very deep into sort of the architectural thoughts, and I'm just still collecting my thoughts on all that. But if anybody's interested in that set of problems, I'd like to talk to you, and maybe we could share some.
Hey Jared, I want to ask you, do you know if in this place the pixels, the draw is uploaded automatically, or is uploaded after the owner or the guy who manages the website?
I believe
payment and he upload by itself.
Yeah, I believe it's automatically. There's even some bugs. If like I probably did about 100 transactions on Satoshi's Place. I won't tell you which ones, but yeah, there's some bugs where I believe he's not seen some transactions get paid because he's only checking the top of the queue, and if 2 get paid at the same time, he's only doing the first one. So yeah, there's fundamentally race conditions in that stack when you've got multiple users out there. All doing things in parallel right in Canvas. So yeah, he did it totally automatically. And I think there's other services where they are processing it somewhat manually. Like if you buy an image, like there was one, I think I saw it on Twitter before, they're unblurring the images. I'm not sure whether that was automatic or there was some manual step in him releasing the images. So yeah, we're all figuring it out, I guess.
But Jared, I have a question. Is this really a Lightning issue? I mean, you would probably investigate Bolt 11 and see how invoices are being there, because, I mean, you obviously don't want to look at the SQLite database of C Lightning or at the data store of LND. But I mean, by the end of the day, it's a software-specific problem, right? If you sell a pixel once or twice, you have to keep track of your invoices, because in general, there shouldn't be any race conditions with invoices, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's fundamentally not a Lightning. Like what Lightning does is very specific and beautiful. But yeah, building kind of rethinking what your web stack looks like on top of it, based on the idea that now there's this very low-level interrupt where somebody pays an invoice, and that's a higher priority interrupt than what people are doing kind of without a payment attached to them. So when this low-level payment interrupt happens, you've got to propagate that upwards to rearrange the world according to what's been paid for versus what people are still have in flight.
A question to the group: Where would we discuss currently such problems? Because I would assume that the problem that Jared is mentioning is a super valid problem for many people who want to build on top of Lightning. I don't see how you would discuss such an issue on the Lightning developers mailing list. So is there currently a place where you would discuss issues like this with peers, or is it just in groups like this, or how is this going on?
In my experience, I started a conversation just briefly with Roast Beef on the LND Slack. What I'm doing requires, ideally, node validation. And LND is the only implementation that has where you can sign for your node public identity. Proposed that as an issue in the Lightning RFC. Rusty tagged it as an enhancement. For 1.1. So, talking with the implementation engineers and determining of whether it's maybe something that can be an issue or a feature request in the spec can get it on the radar.
Yeah, further to that, I have a question. Has anyone got like a voice server going, like on a Mumble or a Discord or something? It would seem to be great to have something like this just open and ongoing just on conference calls.
A Discord especially would be great.
We've got a Discord set up. I mean, there's probably at the moment, I would imagine maybe 10 people sort of floating around in there. There's Stefan, who I think is on this call. I think he was pushing for this also. So maybe if Rene could add it to the minutes, we can follow up after the call to kind of push it a bit, because there's people sat in there, and from what people are saying, it would probably be useful to kind of pump it a bit.
Yeah, a little easier to hash some things out over voice and get to know some of you guys.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I'll if Rene can add it to the notes, which I'm presuming if I was to open Google Docs, it's probably already there. We'll follow up after the call and try and get it running, because it would also, I feel like, voice is probably easier as well, just to save us all typing 24/7 and trying to keep up with streams. Was there anyone else that wanted to go over? I mean, we've got like 10 minutes left. There was on the agenda. There was research updates, open discussion, and research updates. Do we need to cover that, or is that kind of a moot point for this group? Or what do you guys think? Is it worth doing that, or should we just head straight onto the open discussion stuff?
Well, I'm just pointing out it goes a little bit in the direction. So I'm interested in research, and also what I get from the community is education is an important thing. I mean, it goes along with research to some degree. So, I mean, it's not a good article yet, but I started on the English Wikiversity, which is the education project of Wikipedia, to gather information about Lightning, and I would hope also for others to jump on this and to continue to do this. I know, Jeff, we have discussed several times that there should be maybe more video content out there explaining Lightning on various levels, right? I mean, there's quite some nice videos explaining it on a very high level, but I think on a more technical level, even if you go to implementation level or really protocol level, there's almost nothing out there. So that is something I would be definitely interested in. So if people would contact me on that issue, one condition, it has to be open. I'm not into creating content that goes under a profit license that can be bought by some publisher. So it has to be open.
Awesome. I was going to say, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just on that point, I mentioned in the Telegram group, it will eventually want to create some content. You know, I'm not sure if it's all going to be, you know, like on the protocol level, but we're going to probably start with some maybe some top level stuff, and we want to do maybe interviews or features on different projects in the community. So this is probably a couple weeks away, but if you guys are interested in maybe showcasing some of the little projects you've done, just feel free to contact either Ari or myself, or even just email us at Graph, because we're just kind of gathering ideas for content to do videos on.
Yeah, cool.
What exactly do you mean you gather ideas to do videos on, and how are you planning to do this? So you have a production team, or you have people who write screenplays for you, or because I mean I would be very happy to contribute content about protocol works of Lightning. So what exactly are you proposing?
Well, there's several things. One is we do have actual, like a little bit of home studio equipment in terms of lighting, cameras, backdrops, etc. And then we also do have a designer on staff that does video editing and animations. So our idea was to have a mix of content between some animations and explainer videos, and maybe some interviews with with people in the crypto and Lightning community. So we're not 100% certain on what the content exactly is going to be, and that's why we're kind of looking for volunteers or people that might want to contribute or be interviewed or have their project shown or explained in some of our videos.
Yeah, I think I mentioned in the Telegram as well that I put down my side is I was going to work on that as well to kind of sort of help pump the group. So it'd be cool, Pavel, if you want to link up after this and kind of drill down on that a bit more. Because I thought it would be pretty cool to put that stuff up, and because it also helps sort of push the actual laps that people are building as well. Rene, the thing that you mentioned before about just going back to Rene's wiki stuff. He started that the other day as well, and there's quite a bit of info there. We also set up like this learning board as well, and the idea behind that was we could discuss in Trello on this stuff, and also tag it as and when we think the source is relevant to push out to Rene for addition to the wiki. So we're conscious that there might be stuff that, for instance, Marie shared an article about Peter Thiel, which obviously wouldn't make sense adding to the Lightning Net a wiki on a Lightning network. However, people building Lightning applications and wanting to build these into startups would probably find it interesting. So that board's live. If you're interested and you haven't seen it, ping me and I'll send it over. Could do with a little bit of like tender loving care over the coming weeks to increase the amount of attention that's getting. And yeah, hopefully that will help push the stuff that Renee's working on that wiki as well. We have got 5 minutes left, guys, and I want to kind of do a hard finish as well, because I don't want us to get into the routine of carrying on for 1.5 hours when we promised everyone it would be 1 hour. So do we want to just go straight on to open discussion? I assume the research stuff is mainly Renee. That's probably you that's probably going to be talking most about, all for us to just jump down to open discussion, and then we can finish off, yeah?
Yeah, I have nothing to contribute at this moment to the open discussion. I would just hope, maybe one question. How do I contact the people here? Because within Zoom, I cannot private message people as far as I see. For example, I want to contact Marvel because, okay, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, that's probably a good point as well. I sent a board out as well to Brandon and Afnan checking out. We kind of worked on it our side as well, where it lists out everybody that's working on these different Lightning applications, but also making like a members list as well. Hopefully, if I get a chance the start of this week, I should be able to finish that off and send it out for everybody else to have a look at. But I thought it would be quite cool if you can have a members list where everybody's got their own card explaining what projects they're working on, and then it makes it a bit easier for people to find who's working on what. Because I'm conscious we're getting to the stage where there's a few people turning up and we're not really tracking who's working on what as well. So hopefully that might be of some use for that problem in the future as well. So open discussion. I mean, the first thing on it was this Lightning Hack Day, Berlin. Yeah, do you want to cover off whilst we've got more people here what that's about and how people could get involved?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, it's by now the third Lightning Hack Day. It's a series of, it's sort of a barcamp unconference, which just means that it's a conference, but the content isn't known before you actually come there. We schedule all the talks in the morning, and then it's pretty much just a regular conference. We do have a couple speakers that are scheduled just to attract some people, and if people don't know the format, it's easier to have something that looks familiar. It's growing, so we have I'm working on some media partnerships and more coverage. I'm also getting more speakers and more participants. So it's basically just a breeding ground for projects and ideas, and you can have workshops and discuss your ideas. Just what we did tonight, but I would say more focused, and it's a full day of just Lightning Network related discussions. It can be anything, or it will be anything between general introductions for let's say regular Bitcoin users who don't really know anything about Lightning, but also discussions for really high protocol level stuff, as well as whatever, pretty much what we talked about. Tonight was the Lightning Hack Day in a nutshell on Zoom, and the Hack Day itself is of course a face-to-face thing, and it's also about community building and exchanging ideas. We don't have any ICOs, and it's not about pitching. It's more about having a space to freely learn and discuss and connect, and hopefully something will come out of this. So I would like to invite each and every one of you, and for now we have a little challenge going. You can, if you register on the website, the cheapest ticket is €5 in Lightning. This is pretty much just to ensure people have used it and maybe get a couple of questions while setting it up. If that's too much for you, you can also send me a message and I give you a free voucher, because I think you are knowledgeable enough, so you've already qualified. Welcome. That's my little pitch, and I hope you will make it to the Lightning Hack Day, and just let me know if you have any questions. So I know it's a couple people from this channel are coming actually. So just the other half that's not coming should come as well. You were there, David, and René was there as well.
Yeah, was gonna say from an there was rooms doing different I don't know what you'd call them, like presentations explaining different parts of Lightning, which I think the majority of those were being given by Lightning Labs, so that was pretty cool. Quite a cool little setup. Rene was there. He was, I think it was it Autopilot you were looking into, Rene, and he was giving had a little group going off to the side about that. So there was all these little pockets of like little bits of work and creativity going on, so that was pretty cool. And there was some interesting people there. I mean, from our side, we met quite a few developers and spoke to them about trying to get them involved in Bitlam, so it was good for that as well. So, yeah, and like I say, the swag is pretty good, which is always a good sign.
We have some swag again and some stickers, some hats, and this time it's not as Lightning Labs focused, I would say. We have people from Blockstream, we have people from Asonk. Electrum is going to be there, Lightning Peach, so it's a little bit broader this time. Last time was kind of focused on Lightning Labs. Lightning Labs will be there as well, but this time it's going to be just one developer, Johan Halset from Norway, who wasn't there the last time. So this time we'll have like a pretty broad view of the ecosystem. Yeah,
you've just reminded me actually that the other thing that was cool about this event, and I'm not sure if it's following the same format, but there's this Room 77 in Berlin, which is like one of the first places that was offering Bitcoin as payment in a bar. And I'd say as well that there was a lot of value the night before the event and the night after the event at that bar. You was some pretty interesting people there. Like, you'd be talking to somebody and find out he works at Kraken, and then the other guy over here works at, I don't know who else was there. There's a couple of Shapeshift guys or some other people floating around. So it was a really interesting little meet up even after the event, which to be fair by itself is probably worth attending. All right, cool. So,
yeah, I mean that's what we're going to keep. That we're going to keep everything and just extend it a little. We'll have a little hackathon starting a day early, and so that people actually get a chance to build something or like work in a group if they want to do.
Cool. All right, brilliant. Okay, well look, we're I think that's the hour up. Was there anything else anybody wanted to cover really quickly, or are we good?
Just thank you guys for organizing this and taking the time. It's great to connect with all you guys.
Rene with the clap. Yeah, no, same. Hopefully we can keep it alive and maybe over. I mean, well, I think we've been doing this now for 3 weeks, is it? So hopefully, if we can keep this pace going, maybe over the coming months we'll have a nice little network of makers together.
Can everyone take a quick look at those notes and fill in the blanks?
Sorry, what was that, Brendan?
Like when we finished, can participants just have a look at the notes and fill in the blanks?
Yeah, these are the Google Doc notes. Yeah. No, Rene's done a killer job on that. Cool.
Well, actually, I have to say I didn't. It was someone else who something. Yeah.
I went in, I just saw Rene, so I presumed it was all you. And every time I kept switching over, I was like, Jesus, Rene's on another level. I was like, I'm not even.
There was someone so quick that I couldn't follow up, actually. So, I mean, you shouted out all the time to me. So it was this, I don't know, secret person.
Yeah. We'll have to go through the version history and find out who it was that was typing up like an absolute hero, and then maybe everyone can send him some satoshis for his hard work. Cool. All right, brilliant. Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, we'll go back. We'll discuss whether or not this was good, bad. If we want to do it again, if we want to make it a weekly or a 2-week thing. If this was a good format, bad format, good time, bad time, and yeah, hopefully, I'm working on an article as well that hopefully we can push out maybe tomorrow or the next day that talks about the group and just says what we're doing, and maybe that'll get a bit more attention, a bit more, hopefully some more cool people joining as well. Yeah, anything else, or are we all good?
Well, thank you for doing this. Pretty interesting. It's been a pleasure.
So, all right, cool. All right, well, thanks, guys, and see you back in Telegram, Slack, or hopefully this.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.